And we're here at the 13th annual Dallas International Film Festival. And as far as subject matter with rock, paper, scissors, kind of where did this cute little story come from? I love how family friendly this was.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's a combination of several things. First and foremost, I think it's just fun to be at an intersection and see other people and kind of wonder, what's their story, and you think about possibly connecting with them. So that was part of the genesis of it. And then I actually had a friend in college. We'd ride around town sometimes, and he would start rock, paper, scissors games with people at intersections.
Really?
Yeah, and they'd always, sometimes they'd kind of be, quiet and to themselves, and it would always put a smile on their face. So the combination of that curiosity of interacting with someone silently at an intersection, kind of with his previous experience of seeing how it lights up people's faces, thought it'd be a fun start for the story.
As far as finding these kids, where did that search start and where did it end?
It was actually a long search. It was the longest part of the pre-production process. And the lead actor, Josh, is from here in Dallas, actually.
Oh, wow.
So he'll be at the showing.
Very cool.
So that was how we found him. And after him, Camille was the actress that played opposite him. And she was in Oklahoma City.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
That seems pretty familiar for you, Oklahoma area.
Yeah, that's where I'm from, based too.
Yeah. What was it like being able to hear that you're going to be bringing the film here to Dallas and Texas premiere? But as far as being able to be so close to home, I mean, I feel like Oklahoma Texans, we're right there.
I was so excited because Dallas it's a huge festival down here. It also means family and friends can come down a lot easier. So I was just really excited. I have a group with me today to see the film. And especially knowing Josh is from here too, knowing him and his family could come kind of celebrate because they didn't all get to come to the Oklahoma showing. So yeah, just a lot of excitement around being down here.
So I don't want to give away kind of one of the action shot of the film, but there's a wonderful moment where you get to get out of the vehicles that the kids are in.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about how you set that shot up and working with your cinematographer Nick on how exactly you shot it. It looked amazing.
Well, thank you. It was honestly the biggest point of, we had a lot of nerves around doing it. And I'll be vague for the audience so I don't ruin the surprise because it takes a surprising turn. But the logistics of filming moving cars and doing it safely was something we were really concerned about. So we spent a lot of prep time. We had the shots planned out very very specifically and did these passes with the cars and it was honestly it was like building a puzzle backwards to do it, but it was a ton of fun, and it was an idea that we felt really challenged by. We were really nervous, we don't know if we can pull this off. That was a lot of what made us feel like it was the right film to do because we weren't quite sure how to do it, and it forced us to be creative in figuring that out. So it's a little vague for the audience, but yeah, it was fun once we finally figured out how to piece together the action sequence that you guys will see.
Well, it came out wonderful on my end. Watching it, I loved it. As far as being able to make something, the ending in particular, make something that is so... A lot of films are a little bit hard-hitting or have that hard message then, but this is something I think anyone can enjoy and really get a beautiful message from. Was that always the goal, that you wanted to make something a little bit more open for people? For
this film specifically, yeah. We've done some other films together, and sometimes the content can be a little more adult or a little more serious. And so we thought it'd be fun to challenge ourselves as filmmakers and say, let's make something genre-wise that's kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum where anyone can be invited. You don't have to worry about content at all and still explore what it means to tell a really good story. And we looked at Pixar a lot to model ours after that and say, okay, they constantly make these short films that are so strong as a story. How do we take that with live action and some of those principles and try to do the same? So I'm really proud that we actually, we did it as we intended to. So that was definitely our idea from the beginning.
So you've made a couple short films. Is the next goal to go to the feature length, or do you still have some short films that you guys are working on?
Well, yes and no, because the immediate next goal this summer, we're going to start work on a new short film, but that is truly a proof of concept for a feature film that's already written.
Oh, very nice.
So making that feature jump soon, but just doing some of the steps of doing the short film to test with an audience, kind of explore that concept further, gain some momentum behind the feature, and then that's the pretty obvious next step after that.
Very cool.
So it's called Lost Kings.
Wow. Any information about what the subject would be? I mean, is it going to be maybe not family friendly or serious, or?
I wouldn't classify it as family friendly. I wouldn't I would think it's probably, thinking through the feature script, the short film definitely would be accessible probably to all audiences, even though there's some moments of more suspense, the content-wise would be probably family-friendly. The feature might stray a little bit away from that, but not drastically. It's a story of kids that grow up in a neighborhood in Oklahoma City, and they're just kind of struggling to make ends meet, or their families are. So they start breaking into wealthy homes in the city and taking small items at a time and funneling that off into like pawn shops, kind of creating like an income source for their family. But in turn, that just gets them in more trouble and kind of escalates to the point where they kind of get themselves in more trouble than they were when they started.
Very cool.
So,
as far as being able to, when you're sending this out to the world, and what made you decide on sending it to Dallas International? I guess would be the question.
Well, when looking where to send it, I always look at like the quality of festival, and Dallas always stands out to me. It's just a really high caliber festival, and so that was first and foremost, what caught my eye. Secondly, knowing it's a place I could travel to and meet the audience and talk to other filmmakers is always a huge advantage. So I knew Dallas is somewhere drivable that I could come, quality festival I could be at in person. And also just the caliber of films that we're here with also was really attractive. I want to screen with other great works of art. So it's a lot of what drew me here.
It's a good group of films that you're in with as well. I think it's fitting. There's a lot of good kind of cohesion in this group. As far as what's next step for this film, where does it go from here?
We've got, I feel like, a dozen other festival announcements we're waiting on to find out about. We played at Cleveland International Film Festival last weekend, so we might be ending kind of the end of our run, maybe a little bit this summer, but we'll let it kind of finish its festival run, and then it'll have an online release. But a lot of our energy probably after the festival run will go into the new short and the feature. So this will eventually be an online film to watch.
Perfect. One last film festival question.
Yeah.
I know I personally love Dead Center and that whole feel of that festival.
They do a great job.
What was that experience like, being able to show it, for a family audience, your family? Right?
Oh, it was electric, honestly. Like it played at the art museum there, and it played in the Oklahoma Shorts.
Yeah.
So that's a ton of community, that I'm involved in the city. Other filmmakers, other people involved in production. I had family come down from Colorado, which was fun, and it played in this kind of amphitheater art museum theater, and so just the volume and the energy in there was really, really fun. So. That was the first time I'd ever watched it with a live audience.
Wow.
And they laughed in the right spots. They got quiet in the right spots. They got excited. So it was fun to see a film that we worked so hard to fine tune to try to take the audience on a fun ride. It was really fun to sit amongst them and have them respond exactly how we hoped by design. So electric is how I describe it. There was just a ton of good energy in the room, and it was a high point for the film for sure.
Very cool. Well, I know I really enjoyed Rock, Paper, Scissors. I can't wait for people to see it. Brian, thank you for the time.
Thank you so much.